first pick.
All righty, welcome to another episode of On the Clock, your Just Baseball, College Baseball, and MLB Draft podcast. I'm Jared Perkins. We got Tyler with us, and we have an awesome guest with us today, Joseph Dzierwa, left-handed pitcher out of Michigan State. Joseph, how are you doing today, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. Appreciate you taking the time to join us. So first question we kind of always kick off with is tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of take us through your amateur journey and kind of how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, so I'm from a small town in Ohio, south of Toledo. Was kind of under-recruited coming out of high school. I think I may have had 4 offers. Chose to go to Michigan State. And yeah, ever since then, kind of never looked back.
Yeah, talk a little bit about coming from that small town, right? I think we've had a lot of guys on who've come from that small town, don't get kind of the looks. Did that put somewhat of a chip on your shoulder when you're trying to kind of figure out where you're going in the next level?
Yeah, a little bit. It's kind of cool now looking back at it because there's not too
Yeah.
many kids come from this area, kind of get to go play college baseball. So it's a kind of a big honor.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you were a multi-sport athlete. So kind of what role did playing football and the other sports have as your development in baseball as well?
Yeah, physically and mentally, I think help both. You could go for football. You kind of have to make off balance throws, all that stuff, and just kind of be athletic. And so that's where I think maybe just kind of being blessed to throw strikes throughout my career kind of comes from. And then mentally, I think just in basketball, you're always got to make adjustments on the fly. And so I think that's kind of where both those sports come into play.
Yeah, I love that. And that kind of weaves into the next question I was going to ask before I turned over to Tyler. But you had that awesome complete game shutout against Oregon. I know you probably get a ton of questions on this. I think you had 11 strikeouts, 3 hits, 9 innings. You were like 90 to 94 the entire outing. I think that was like your 8th straight start, or having 8 starts with 5 innings or more with 1 run or less. Take us into that outing. What was the mentality like throughout that entire outing for you?
Yeah, so actually that Monday prior, me and Coach Vandy, our pitching coach, had a long, like 2-hour, 3-hour meeting and kind of just self-scouting, kind of looking at some stuff and made some adjustments and it's kind of cool to see that kind of switch that quick. But yeah, it was cool. I always try to keep it pitch by pitch and not look too forward or kind of dwell on the past pitch. And that's that was kind of my big focus that game.
Yeah, did you have to make any adjustments in game at all?
Yeah, kind of we started throwing more left on left changeups. That was kind of newish for me. I threw a decent amount, but not as many as I did that game.
Yeah, love it. Tyler, turn over to you.
So I heard you mention throwing in football. So you were a quarterback in high school?
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Okay, so you would have been the tallest quarterback in the NFL right now. And you're what? You're 6'8", 6'9", if I remember correctly?
Yeah, 6'8".
Jesus, I feel small already. So I kind of want to start off on that front. Being as tall as you are, being as lanky as you are, it's always tough to kind of keep your levers in sync and everything. Kind of the big issue with some of the taller pitchers in the country. But what do you kind of do to kind of like get everything in check, make sure you stay consistent and not have this, kind of spray and pray sort of philosophy on the mound?
Mm-hmm. I think it kind of goes back to just kind of the way I grew up and playing 3 sports. Like I said, just being able to throw the football. You just got to get it to the receiver and kind of whatever happens, happens. If he drops it, it's a perfect pass. You can't control except the next play. And so I think that's kind of the attitude I kind of take. I always try to get some athletic throws during the game or pregame. And so that's kind of what keeps me kind of in check.
Okay, cool. My next question kind of goes off of, building on what you built upon this year, or even last year, rather, going into this year. What was the biggest thing you kind of worked on going into the offseason and really, put you on the pedestal, I guess, if we call it that you've been on this year with draft rankings?
Yeah, I think mentally, I think that changed everything for me. Just really buying into that process, that day by day, instead of looking so far ahead. I think that's where I saw my biggest leaps, especially physically. Putting stuff in your body, the right stuff, and attacking the weight room.
Awesome. And was there anything like specifically pitch shape wise or anything in your arsenal that you really focused on in the offseason that you felt like really popped in the spring?
Yeah, we focused on getting a little more depth on my changeup, and I think that helped a lot. Worked on cleaning up the mechanics a little bit too, and I think that kind of translated to everything.
Awesome. I guess this is probably like a weird question to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyways. But with your fastball being as I would say metrically gifted as it is there anything that you try and like tinker with shapes in game or anything, or is it kind of strictly like with your release, let it kind of run off on guys, essentially, and like inside the lefties?
Yeah, I just throw it, to be honest. I mean, I've never changed the grip to my fastball, so I've just always thrown it.
Cool. Jared, I'll let you take over from here.
Yeah, Tyler touched on it a little bit, but take us a little bit into depth in your arsenal. I know you kind of talked about what you're working on, but kind of how do you go about attacking hitters?
Yeah, I always try to keep it me versus me.
Hmm.
I think I mean, my confidence comes from the work I put into the week prior, the day prior, even the year. Just that kind of that work goes in. That's kind of where I found the biggest confidence for me. And I just kind of that's what I try to keep it as is just me versus me, execute each pitch. So, I mean, I always just try to go and attack hitters. Arsenal, I got my fastball, I got my changeup, and then I got kind of a cutter, slider, firm slider, and then I've been working on this sweeper curveball.
I love it. I probably know the answer to this, but what's your favorite pitch to go to?
Probably my fastball.
Yeah, that's what I figured, but figured I had to ask it anyways. You mentioned kind of your work ethic, your routine, and I think what we kind of hear a lot about is your work ethic's just frequently mentioned. So, can you talk a little bit about your pregame routine? You talked about kind of addressing the physical and the mental side of things, but how do you prep before you actually step on the mound?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it goes to like the week prior. I
Hmm.
think just kind of building up towards that. I mean, I could go in the depth of like everything I do before the game and stuff, but I think it's more about that week prior, and I think that kind of gets overlooked because freshman year, I always thought it only mattered like the day prior, and so then kind of maturing throughout the 2 years, I think has helped me a lot through that.
Yeah, I love it. Next question I have too is so you were Big Ten Pitcher of the Year. I think you were four-time Pitcher of the Week. Had a Golden Spike semifinalist. Are those things that are kind of goals for you, or they just come along? You're like, I'm just going to go out there and dominate whatever comes, whatever comes. Just want to go help my team win, kind of mentality.
Yeah, I'd say it's more that mentality.
Yeah,
I think for me especially is just kind of if I control what I can each day, like each task that's given to me each day, if I control that and give everything I have into that, I think I'll be where I want to be down the line.
I love it. And then last question I have before we go into some more fun ones. So, uh, Michigan State's obviously had a huge impact on your career. So, how has that helped you develop as a pitcher and a person?
Yeah, I mean, I've matured obviously on the field mentally and everything, but I think off the field's too kind of cool to see just with everything. I mean, just kind of like the way I've like kind of changed. I mean,
Hmm.
it's cool to see. Like, I love helping out my teammates now. I mean, more than I ever had, and I think that's kind of helped me become kind of a coach after my playing career's done, and so that's kind of cool to see.
I love it. Then, kind of going into the fun questions. You're a business major. You talked about wanting to be a coach. Like, what are some of the things that you kind of enjoy outside of baseball?
Yeah, I love the golf.
Yeah,
I'm a pretty competitive person, so I love the golf.
I know Tyler's probably got a follow up question to that because he's a big golfer.
Oh yeah,
I just went golfing today, and I feel like I did terribly. But like, I gotta ask this because I've asked others. What's the handicap, and like how big of a golfer are you?
oh, I'm ginormous. I mean, I've gotten down to probably close to scratch, probably my freshman year, and then I kind of took that kind of a pause this season, and so I'll probably be anywhere from or probably 2, 3, somewhere around there.
It's pretty
All
impressive.
right, I'm a 14, so this is I was about to say that's really impressive, honestly. Any favorite club in the bag, or is it kind of just like let the big dog eat a little bit?
I love the short game. I know it's
Mm,
kind of weird coming from a tall guy, but I love like 120 yards in. I think that's most creative, most fun.
I
No,
love
I'm
that.
with you.
I hate drivers because I shank it to the left every single time. So I like the short game too. It's easier for me to control it.
I'm like the
um,
opposite. I'm like, give me driver. I'll put it anywhere in the fairway. Anything after that, no. We're just not going to talk about that. Actually,
I love it. So next question is for what's the biggest wow moment in your baseball journey so far? So something that's made like the journey to pro ball, the journey to college, like really feel real?
Yeah. I mean, I probably have a couple throughout each year. Kind of playing at Omaha my freshman year with those guys around me. I think I mean, 4 of them were playing pro ball in the infield. And so just kind of having that kind of group around me was pretty cool to learn from. Last year, just kind of being around and kind of learning really kind of how to be a leader and everything was pretty cool. And then this year, I mean, the pitchers, we call ourselves the staffletes because we think of ourselves as athletes. But yeah, I mean, being around those guys were kind of unreal year. I mean, I kind of going back to it, wish I could do it one more year with those guys.
I love it. If you could face one big leaguer, who would it be?
I'll probably, I don't know. I always tell people in these meetings, I always want to go, I want to face some of my teammates again. I mean, I know they're not big leaguers yet, but I want to get another shot at them.
Yeah, I love it. Hey, they could be big leaguers soon, so
Yeah.
still counts. Then if you could, or sorry, what's the go-to food spot for you at Michigan State?
After games, I mean, obviously we get out late. There's a place called Conrad's, kind of the go-to for all the players, especially when it's late. And so that's kind of where we go.
I love it. Do you have a go-to order?
The Philly. Yeah.
Nice. That's a good post-game meal right there.
Yeah.
And then if you could build your Mount Rushmore of left-handed pitchers, like doesn't have to be the top 4 of all time, just 4 guys you looked up to, or just like kind of like watching their game.
Yeah, I'd say Randy Johnson,
That makes
Chris
sense.
Sale, Kershaw, and then I mean I love watching Lodolo right now. I mean he's pretty similar to me, so kind of watching him. I'd say those probably guys on my Mount Rushmore.
The first 2 being the tall, lanky lefties made sense. That one, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Then last question for you is, what was the walkout song this year?
Private Landing by Don Tolliver.
Love it. That's awesome. Man, Joseph, we can't thank you enough for taking the time to join us and On the Clock. We're wishing you nothing but the best in all your future endeavors here, man. We'll be watching the draft. We'll be watching whatever your next steps are in your journey, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.